Hi guys, Carl behind the camera here for Team Shift. Here we have Cameron and giving us deck profile today from the Norwich Regional, which you managed to finish X1 and get third place at.
Yep, so I played Kashtira today, so I'm not a massive fan of the format, and there's a couple of decks right now that we're sort of testing, so I've been playing Kashtira for the last couple of weeks, and I thought I'd play it out, and yeah, I went X1 in Swiss, quite a small regional, like 55 players, and yeah, 6 rounds, so quite a lot of Sprite, quite a lot of mirror matches around like top tables, but yeah, I'll show you guys the deck list. It has its issues, but I think every deck this format has its issues, but yeah, this is what I played. So obviously probably the best card in the deck, Unicorn. The monsters are pretty standard apart from these 3. So a lot of people play either 2 of this or 1 of this. I'm a big fan of 1. Honestly, I don't think you really need more. Plus it's really bad in multiples. I played 3 of this, I played 2, I played 1. And I feel like 1's the most optimum. This card isn't great, but you kind of need it for the Lock 5 combo. And I think out of these 3, this card is the most important in terms of utility. It gets around sort of any sort of sticky effects and pushes for OTK. Like Unicorn in itself is a 1-card combo where you can OTK with this card. So yeah, this is probably one of the best Kashtira cards in the deck. And then really small monster lineup. Last card is Ash. I think it's probably the most played card, and you're quite silly if you don't reg your deck with 3 of this at the moment, considering how popular brand it is. So that's it for the monsters.
No Morna?
No, I tested Morna and I felt like it was quite low impact. So obviously it's better than Veiler, probably a little bit better than Draw in terms of consistency, but for me it felt like really low impact, and I didn't really want to play a low impact card. I'd rather play something a bit more versatile, which I'll get onto in a minute.
Makes sense.
So for the pots, just played 2 Desires and 3 Prosperity. Obviously these 2 can conflict sometimes, which is a bit annoying, but as this deck has a little bit of consistency issues, you do need to max out on these. I think like Jesse played this for YCS Lima, and I think everyone's catching on to it, that it's just really important to play these cards at the moment. I can see this being a trend going forward. I'm not a big fan of the set rotation, although I understand set rotation increases the chance of you locking 5 zones turn 1. I'm just not a big fan of the Scareclaw field spell. I just don't really think it's needed. But yeah, these cards are really good, especially like this draw into non-engine game 2 and 3 is really good, and obviously Prosperity is probably the best one. So that's it for the pots. And then the really standard stuff: 4th field spell, and then 3 Theosis, and then 3 Birth. I was playing Planet Pathfinder for the longest time, but it turns out the card isn't actually that good, so I cut it. Maybe if this deck has some limitations in the future, I consider it, but yeah, I think this is like really standard. This card's really crazy. Auto wins like a lot of matchups. I think that's why this deck is like really popular at the moment, just because the Birth has a really good interaction with strong spell cards like runic cards and branded fusion. So I think this deck is really like well positioned in the meta. That's why it's so popular. But yeah, those are quite standard.
Like you're saying, Pathfinder playing into Nib
Yeah,
when you're trying to just a Rise Heart pass isn't the one.
Not the one, but yeah. So for non-engine slots, like these are sort of the flex spots of the deck where I feel like those playing YCS on the weekends, YCS London, LA, and the South American one, I feel like people need to get these like non-engine right, because it changes like every week. Everyone's trying to match the results from the regionals the week before. So I feel like these are the most important slots of the deck. For this regional, I was testing 3 Lance, 3 Book, 2 Econ, and 1 Duster in the main. So Lance obviously is very good going first. I wanted to play it game 1 because how like UK regionals normally is really filled with like Rogue. There's a lot of runic in the format. And as you'll see in a minute, I chose to disrespect back row cards. So I wanted a card that generically was good against back row and protects the Arise Heart going first. So yeah, it does come up with this card is like really powerful going second, especially if you have a set Book of Moon, Eclipse, etc. And of course, like if they evenly match you, you can just chain, protect your Rise Heart, keep playing and stuff. So I think this card's solid, a solid pick. Book of Moon was very good for me because Sprite is really popular right now. I expect Sprite to be really popular for the YCS as well. Book of Moon is really good in that matchup going first and second, so I wanted a card that was versatile against that matchup. Same with Econ, very good against the Sprite board. very good in general against the mirror. And I took some funny stuff with this throughout testing, like dodging floodgates. It's just a really good like flex spot. This is probably the most, like these three, the biggest flex spots for me. Potentially this as well. So it was a bit more testing to do in terms of that front, but this is what I chose and it worked really well for me. This is a bit of like an arguable one. So my thought process with this in terms of side patterns, it's really good against the mirror. Obviously it can come up against Sprite. They can probably negate it though, to be fair, but it could bait out a negate. And obviously back row, in terms of like siding patterns for back row, it came up in, yeah, it was just a one-off spot that I thought I just put in just to help siding. Because siding's a bit of an issue this format because people don't really know what the best decks are trying to end on and trying to do. So yeah, for like general coverage and utility in a wide format, I thought this was fine. I don't think I drew this really much, but like I said, in terms of siding patterns, it kind of worked for me, which I think is really important. So that's it for the spells, and then for the traps, probably the people started to cut this, but I feel like it's really good like generically. I think I won one of my Kashtira minor matches because I just impermed this Arise Heart and then I was able to play. So yeah, I just think imperm's like really solid generically, especially in such a wide format. It hasn't really felt bad for me yet, so maybe it's a flex spot, but I think it's really good. It doesn't play into talents as well. I think everyone knows that, but I think that for that purpose only as well. It's a good sixth card as well, which is really important. But yeah, 3 imperm, and then last trap is Big Bang. You kind of need it for the lock 5 combo. I didn't play Preparation because I felt like that card is not needed, and it's a brick, and the deck can already have a few bricky hands where I didn't want to contribute to that with another bad trap card really, which is good, but maybe it's win more. But yeah, but that's sort of the deck, sort of 40 cards. We'll do the extra deck, really standard. Nothing too spicy in here, to be fair. 2 Shang, 3 Arise. I valued the 3. I thought the 3 was like really good especially in the mirror match when you're resolving unicorns a lot. 2 Zeus, 1 Draco Sack. This card is very, very good. So I thought when I first started playing the deck, I didn't really appreciate how good this card actually is until I've picked up niche interactions where you can set up like turn 2-3 follow up by just banishing Birth and Theosis, give yourself follow up, break their board, leave them on like no cards. So yeah, this card is very, very good and important as well. I don't think it's worth playing more than one, but maybe if people catch on, they could potentially banish this, but for now it's fine. 1 Mind Hacker cards is very good, obviously. 2 Big Eye because it's important in the mirror. And then Donna, I still haven't really summoned this card much, but it does come up in niche interactions where you just want to clear your board. Especially if you hold like a unicorn where you're trying to play through your opponent's board. You slap this down, break their board, and then bam, resolve the unicorn and you're back playing. And then these 2 primarily for the prosperity attachments, which I think were really fine. This card's like very good because Gamma's really popular. So yeah, that's the 15 card extra deck. And then the side deck, which I think is a work in progress, but I've got some good changes that I'm probably going to make ahead of the YCS. But this is what I played for this event, 3 Shifter. Originally I wasn't playing this, but I chose to put it in the night before because it's very good going first and second in sort of like runic matchups. Mathmech is popular and it's really good in that matchup. Like I said, it just auto wins certain matchups where in a wide field, this card's good going first and second, so I think I valued Shifter. Gamma, this card was in theory really good, but I don't think I played this going forwards because I didn't play Omega. If I were to play this card, I'd play Omega with it going forwards, but I think this is definitely a change I'd make ahead of next weekend. 2 Lightning Storm for the mirror match. Yeah, just really good. You can just, as long as you can play through the back row, I think the engine itself can just beat in a right heart. And obviously, yeah, back row hate. 3 Dark Ruler, which was actually very, very good. Sprite's really popular, so this card, unless they have the Judgment or Anti-Spell for it, yeah, you're kind of chilling. And then the last 3 cards is a Pointer and then 2 D-Barrier. I think you have to have some sort of branded stuff, branded sort of text, because that deck's really popular, and then a Pointer. Normally just take out the Duster, going first, put this card in, and this card's like very, very good into a wide of matchups going first, especially when you attach whatever you banish as well. So yeah, that's the deck. Performed pretty well for me. There's a couple of changes that I would make. So hopefully get a good result next weekend. And thank you guys for watching. Check out our sponsor, Spartacard Gaming, on Facebook and the website. And yeah.
Cheers, guys.